You're listening to the Connection Care Community Podcast, a podcast designed to help you understand your body more deeply and feel more confident navigating your hormones, cycle, and fertility. Each episode offers grounded, research-informed guidance and integrative tools to support hormone health, embodied awareness, and informed choice. If you're seeking clarity, connection, and a more trusting relationship with your body, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Here's your host, the founder of Connection Care Therapy, Majida.
Hello and welcome to the Connection Care Community Podcast. My name is Majida, and today we're going to be talking about what to do before you stop birth control, a 30-day prep to make the transition easier. This is going to be your step-by-step integrated plan to support hormone balance, nutrient stores, and stress resilience before coming off hormonal birth control. So hello and welcome. Hi there. I'd like to let you in on a little big secret. You don't have to jump into the post-pill transition unprepared. In fact, I strongly recommend giving your body and systems a 30-day head start to soften any kind of upheaval that you may experience and improve your overall recovery. So this is actually a series that I have on life after hormonal birth control. In part one, I talked about connecting to my own story, right? Our shared story around hormonal birth control. And in part two, I talked a lot about demystifying the physiology. This part is going to be about preparing the terrain, but I strongly encourage you to go over to my Substack or wherever you're listening to this podcast, find part one and part two so that you're all caught up on what we're chatting about here today. So in this part about preparing the terrain, I want to make sure that I leave you with tangible supports to assist you and your body in making the shift. Because the more stable your foundation, what I have experienced as an integrative hormone health and fertility specialist is that the more supported and stable a person's foundation, the less the upheaval feels like chaos. Hormonal birth control, it did its job. It prevented pregnancy, or it managed symptoms, or maybe it offered some peace of mind. But what it doesn't do is nurture your natural hormonal rhythms. And as we talked about both in part one and part two, your natural hormonal rhythms need support after coming off of the pill. So over time, the reason why your system needs support is because over time, the suppression that goes on with the pill, it changes some things. It changes your nutrient status, your liver detoxification pathways, your gut health, your gut microbiome, neurotransmitters, even how your body manages stress. So before you completely stop the pill, I want to give you a bit of a head start. This article here is a 30-day prep that is not about perfection, right? We don't do perfection here. It's too much pressure. And rarely does it ever, never, whoever achieves perfection, right? But really this is about aligning your system towards balance. Right? It's about nourishing your body, and it's about signaling that you are ready to return to your own rhythm. Okay, so diving on in, especially if you hear part one and part two, you probably have a pretty good idea as to why preparation matters. But to give a bit of an overview, when you stop hormonal contraceptives, your body isn't just gonna go back to normal, right? You have your certain systems that are oftentimes reawakening. You have ovulation that needs to reawaken because you haven't been ovulating when you're taking hormonal birth control, right? Your cervical fluid production, because if you don't ovulate, you're not going to create cervical fluid. You have cyclical hormonal communication that is occurring between the brain and the ovaries. We talked about last time the HPO axis. And then you have these metabolic pathways like liver detoxification and gut health and what have you. All of these are going to need support. So if you think about it this way, it's like turning the lights back on after years of these resources, right? These parts of your body being in dimness. The switch flips, but your eyes still need a moment to adjust. This 30-day period is your adjustment window before that change. It gives your body a chance to replenish the nutrients and stability that makes ovulation good mood, energy recovery much smoother. Without these foundations, what I've seen is that many women experience what's called post-pill syndrome. This may look like acne, may even look like hair loss. It may look like cycle delays, mood swings, fatigue, but these aren't just random symptoms, right? They are your body working to recalibrate while running on low reserves. What research consistently shows is that oral contraceptives deplete certain nutrients. The clinical literature points to a reduction in folate, right? Vitamin B9. It's a big one for all kinds of functions in the body, including certain reproductive functions. Then you also have B2 is oftentimes reduced while on hormonal contraceptives, B12, vitamin C, vitamin E, minerals like magnesium, selenium, zinc. The WHO produced a meta-report that lists B6, folate, magnesium, selenium, and zinc amongst the nutrients of concern in oral contraceptive users. Other reviews often noted depressed levels of riboflavin, zinc, several others that I'm not thinking about at the top of my head, but if you go to my Substack article, you can see that I list them there. So all of this, right, to say that these depletions matter not just as lab curiosities, but because these nutrients play a very distinct and direct role in overall hormonal synthesis, neurotransmitter balance, detoxification pathways, cellular signaling. If you're trying to restart your cycle without rebuilding these reserves, you're basically asking your body to perform without resources, which that's just not how we're built, right? That's not how we're built to perform. So meanwhile, you also have the gut microbiome, which shifts under the influence of external hormones. You have some studies show that combined hormonal contraceptive use is associated with mild decreases in microbial diversity and shifts in bacterial composition in the gut. These microbiome changes can affect things like estrogen metabolism, inflammation, nutrient absorption. You have a 2021 study, if I recall correctly, that found significant differences in gut microbial composition in women on combined hormonal contraceptives versus those who were not on hormonal contraceptives. Your body, right? Your body is waking up systems that have been quiet or suppressed while you were on the pill, right? You want those systems to be nourished and supported, not depleted. So preparation isn't about detoxing the pill out of your system. It's about restoring communication and restoring nourishment so that your body can do what it was designed to do. So I oftentimes talk about the 4 pillars of pre-transition support. These 4 pillars are really the 4 pillars of overall hormone health, right, to support our hormone health system. But they're especially applicable when we're talking about navigating a transition like coming off of hormonal contraceptives. So the first big one, blood sugar balance. Having a balanced blood sugar lays the groundwork for overall hormone stability. You have insulin and your ovarian hormones communicate very closely. When one is unstable, oftentimes the other one follows. So if your meals have been irregular or they're really carb heavy or you're caffeine dependent, now is the time to rebuild, right? Shift into a different kind of consistency. So one of the things I recommend is starting eating, right, within around 30 to 60 minutes of waking up. I say this as someone who is not a breakfast person at all. Like, this one is really hard for me. However, for those of us who are navigating rebalancing blood sugar, it's a big deal, right? So see if you can eat within 30 to 60 minutes of waking. Also, the great trifecta: fats, protein, fiber, right? Building your meals around healthy fats, quality protein, and fiber, right, are a big deal. Like, that in and of itself really is one of the biggest nutritional therapy recommendations that I make to pretty much all of my clients, right? Avoid long fasting windows because this spikes cortisol. Include movement after meals, even if it's a 10-minute walk, right? 10-minute walk after a meal, get your body up and moving. These suggestions, right, eating 30 to 60 minutes after waking, protein, fat, fiber, building your meals around those, avoiding long fasting windows, and movement, especially after eating. These can support in stabilizing glucose, which can help reduce things like post-pill acne, irregular cycles, and PMS related severity, or PMS severity, by supporting ovulation and lowering overall inflammation. So that's under the blood sugar regulation, right? I should have mentioned this is a really great podcast to take notes in. So second one, right? And if you're not taking notes, head on over to my Substack. Please become a subscriber so that we can build this community here and I can keep putting out this content and to support those of us who are on a hormone health and fertility journey. All right, so second point, liver and detox support. We're talking gentle. We're not talking extreme, right? Extreme detoxification is not needed here. Gentle support is really the way to go. And let's talk about what that looks like. So your liver has been processing synthetic hormones daily, sometimes for years, right? For some of us who are on hormonal contraceptives for years, it might have been for some time. As you transition off of birth control, your liver continues to need to clear these residual hormones and their metabolites. Supporting your liver gently, not aggressively, right? This makes a world of difference. So the steps I recommend: first, you gotta prioritize hydration, and what that looks like is aim for half of your body weight in ounces daily. Second, you have your cruciferous vegetables. I always say cruciferous wrong, so I hope I'm saying it right on this podcast, but that's your broccoli, your cauliflower, your kale, your arugula, right? Your Brussels sprouts, right? All the fun ones at mealtime. But you want to add some of those back into your diet. Note that I'm going to later talk about or in other podcasts talk about gut healing, because adding cruciferous vegetables in, not the easiest thing if you don't have your gut isn't where it needs to be, right? So noting that, and I'm going to at the end talk about supplements that you could take, or at least I'm going to refer you to my supplement list so that you can check those out. And one of those supplements called sulforaphane is quite supportive for those who may have difficulty digesting cruciferous vegetables. But moving on, because I'm trying to make this as simple as possible, right? So prioritizing hydration, adding cruciferous vegetables, and then including amino acids from quality proteins, right? They fuel your detoxification pathways. Again, not easy sometimes for those who are dealing with gut issues to digest quality protein. So it's why I'm going to eventually be doing whole series on gut rebuilding. And then you limit things like alcohol and fragrances and plastics and what have you, because those all take attacks on your detoxification pathways. So you can see that the recommendations I'm making, they're not necessarily about cleanse, right? They're about creating daily flow through real food, through hydration, through lifestyle changes that your liver that support your liver detoxification as health, right? And then that it can return your system to equilibrium without experience of overwhelm, right? Real food, real hydration, real lifestyle changes are the core aspects of what support liver detoxification. Nutrient replenishment. I call this oftentimes strategic repair. We've already talked about the B vitamins and how big of a deal they are, right? B6, B12, folate. They support neurotransmitter and hormone metabolism. Many studies show that B6 and folate are quite a bit lower in oral contraceptive users. B6 supports serotonin, GABA, GABA pathways, progesterone production. It helps to modulate overall hormone balance. Folate, massively important, right? Vitamin folate, also known as B9, folate levels often fall in users of hormonal contraceptives, and so supporting folate helps with things like your methylation and hormone metabolism. At some point on this podcast, I'm going to talk about MTHFR and the importance of having methylated B vitamins, right, to support our body in being able to do what it does. There's several studies that show significantly lower blood serum levels of B12 in hormonal contraceptive users versus non-users. So replenishing the B vitamins is key cornerstone strategic repair. Not to even get into what the importance of the B vitamins for gut health. Much more I can get into on that, but key takeaway, B vitamin support is a key. Having a methylated B vitamin in your repair protocol is a big deal. Zinc, right? To move through these a little bit quicker, we have zinc. It's crucial for ovulation, crucial for immune function, and it tends to decline with prolonged use of hormonal birth control. Magnesium, it's going to calm your nervous system. It's going to support progesterone. And it's another mineral, right? Heart health is another one that magnesium does. It's going to decrease with extended oral contraceptive use. Selenium and coenzyme Q10. These two are big for fertility, right? Big for fertility, big for thyroid health. They protect ovarian and thyroid function. And selenium declines with prolonged use of hormonal birth control, while coenzyme Q10, it's less studied, right, within this context, but its oxidative stress tends to be much higher in birth control users than non-birth control users. So I always advocate for integrating coenzyme Q10 into your replenishment protocol to support your antioxidant capacity. Really, really great for egg health. And egg health, when I talk about the eggs that we produce, right, that we ovulate every month, coenzyme Q10 is big for that. So some food sources, eggs, right, and that can be chicken eggs, fish eggs, right? Eggs are a big deal. Leafy greens, lentils, salmon, really great for those omegas. Pumpkin seed, fantastic for zinc. Grass-fed meats, liver, right, is a fantastic one. Other legumes. If supplementing, it's, as I've mentioned before, it's very important to choose high quality methylated forms, particularly of B vitamins, and avoid stacking too many new products. If you'd like practitioner guidance, reach out, right? We can schedule a consultation and then see if we're a good fit to work together. You can also visit my full script where I have a post-pill entire list of supplements that I have vetted myself and recommend for those who are doing post-pill replenishment. And you can head on over to either my website at www.connectioncaretherapy.com, or you can also head over to Substack, and I have links there. Stress and lifestyle foundations. This is number 4. Right? So just as a quick recap, 1 was blood sugar balance, 2, liver and detox support, 3 was nutrient replenishment, and 4 is lifestyle and stress foundations. This is a big one, and it's oftentimes one of the hardest ones for people to make adjustments around, right? However, truth of the matter is that your stress response system, right? We call it the HPA axis, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. It works in very, very close communication with your reproductive system, the HPO axis. When cortisol is chronically elevated, ovulation can become delayed, or it can skip entirely, right? So now is the time to bring your nervous system on board. 4 things that I recommend: consistent sleep, aiming for 7 to 9 hours, and includes sunlight exposure when you wake up. 10 minutes of daily nervous system grounding support. This could look like breath work or meditation or journaling or gentle stretching. Gentle movement, right? That might include walks or yoga or a restorative session of some kind. Pleasure, rest, and connection, right? All of those are forms of hormonal nourishment. And pleasure could look like self-pleasure, partner pleasure, connecting with your pets, right? Hugging your pet or looking your puppy in the eyes. All of those things, right, are supportive to overall hormonal nourishment. So don't skip out on those. You're not just preparing your body to ovulate, right? You're also reminding your brain and your body that safety is possible again. So one of the things that I have listed on the Substack that I'm not able to share here on this podcast is I have like a little image that I have put in my Substack post, where it really is a 4-week prep plan that you can check out if you go on over to my Substack. If you do, please do subscribe so that you can be kept up to date with the weekly articles that come out. And so this is a 30-day pre-hormonal birth control prep plan, right? It's very flexible in terms of its rhythm. You can follow it exactly. You can expand it beyond 30 days. Make sure that you are practicing everything that I am offering here in a way that is respectful to your own rhythm. So with week 1, right? We start out with grounding and stabilizing our blood sugar. And I have the 4 points that I mentioned above. I'm not going to reiterate those for time, but you can head on over to my Substack if you want to see this clearly laid out. And then week 2, we have our nourish and replenishment of our nutrients. Week 3 is where I have it laid out, supporting liver and detox pathways. And then week 4, regulating your stress and rebuilding resilience, right? So if any week feels too fast, extend it. You can repeat or expand any week as needed. The goal is to set a foundation, not to rush through, right? So strongly, again, recommend that you head on over to my Substack so that you can see this plan laid out. And again, while you're there, please do make sure you hit the subscribe button. So preparing the mind and setting intention. What I'd like you to remember is that coming off of hormonal birth control is not about fixing your body. It's about reconnection. Preparation is not performance, right? We're not about a performance here. We're advocating for communication. Your cycle isn't something that needs to be controlled. It's a part of you that needs to be listened to. And the truth is, there may still be frustration, acne, fatigue, or irregular cycles. Those things are normal as you're going through a transition of coming off the pill. But when you've built this foundation, your body has what it needs to respond with resilience, not chaos. So know that you're not starting from zero, that you're just starting with intention. A free resource that I have, if you head on over to my website, www.connectioncaretherapy.com, you can go over to the free resource section. And there I have a ebook called Coming Off the Pill, along with some other really great gut supportive resources for you to check out. If you're looking for high quality vetted supplements, you can head on over to my Substack or my website and check out my post-pill replenishment bundle, Coming Off the Pill supplement bundle. That's there for you if you want to take some of the work out of researching all of these supplements yourself. You'll see what I recommend to my clients. If you want one-on-one support, schedule a consultation with me. I have my Cycle Connection course, of course, my free resources, and then an article that I'm very proud of, What Every Woman Needs to Know About Coming Off the Pill. It's a really fantastic, easy read article, but is a really great resource. And I share even some resources in that article here that I have not yet to mention on my Substack here. So head on over to my website, again, www.connectioncaretherapy.com, and check out What Every Woman Needs to Know About the Pill. So what's next? If you're ready to make sense about what some of the other things that may be going on when it comes to coming off the pill, I have part 4 in this series, where a commonly asked question that I get: what does a healthy post-pill timeline look like? How long does it take for things to settle? And when is it time? Like, how do I know when to reach out for some extra support? So be sure to subscribe to my Substack so that you get notification of part 4 in this series. And before we close out, I'd love to know, is there anything that stood out to you in this post? Is the post-pill research that I shared, or anything around post-pill syndrome something that you had heard before, something you hadn't heard before? Is it completely new to you? Just like to know who's out there and who's listening. So please do come on over to my Substack, drop a comment or two, and I look forward to continuing our connection. Please do make sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next podcast. All right, have a wonderful day.
That does it for this episode of the Connection Care Community Podcast with Majida. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you're leaving with a fresh perspective on your body and overall well-being, along with practical tools you can integrate into daily life. The support doesn't stop here. Be sure to connect with us online at connectioncaretherapy.com for more resources to guide you on your journey. You can also find us on Substack and connect with Majida on Instagram at Majida Sai'da. Remember to rate, review, and share this podcast. And most importantly, stay connected.